Welcome to Fan Racing Radio, and we are presenting something completely new today, and it is our in-season challenge fantasy preview. And joining us for this is our Fan Racing crew. So we have Jay Huseman and Taz here to help us with our fantasy preview for the in-season challenge round one. And I know Jay has been super excited for all of this. What about you, Taz?
I've been excited for this. This has been something I looked forward to. I honestly wish NASCAR kind of promoted this a little bit better, in my opinion, in terms of the broadcast side of things. I know they're trying to push that playoff bubble, but at the same time, they got this going on. And if they're going to push this happening, they should at least promote it more so that, we can grab some more fans into this. I mean,
I agree with you.
For example, I'm going to reference the NBA here, and I'm not no NBA fan by any means necessary. Not saying I hate it. It's just that that's not for me. But at least I know they're promoting their own in-season tournament, and NASCAR should be doing the same thing.
Jay, you have some insight on that. You want to share?
Yeah, you fit right in here, Taz. We all talked about that, especially the three races that were the seeding, or the end of it before the cutoff line, and then the seeding rounds. We all kind of felt like maybe it didn't get pushed enough. And you're right. When I didn't even know, I'm like you, NBA isn't my thing. My nephew is though, and so seeing all these commercials, I was like, I didn't even know the NBA had a new in-season tournament. So I saw the commercials. It engaged me of hey, let me talk to my nephew and see what's going on. Whereas I don't think NASCAR did that. But throughout the week, listening on Sirius XM, which is where I listen to most of the day when I'm in the vehicle, they said that for one, the broadcast, because they are covering the race itself and how that's playing out. They may mention the matchups or something, but it's not going to be their primary focus. However, what was it on True TV? Larry McReynolds is going to be on a show that they will be able to more just focus on that. So there is that outlet. It is growing now that it's here. I'm with y'all. It should have been pre-promoted, not just while it's happening, to engage the fan to be involved in it now and not, oh, what's going on? Oh, I'm already a race or two behind. So we'll see how it plays out. We do got to keep in mind, this is the first year NASCAR's doing it, so it's new to them as well. And I get that, showing a little bit of grace there, but we all kind of agreed, maybe should have had a little more hype to it.
Yeah, and I think if I could just add one other thought here, I kind of think maybe NASCAR has concerns, maybe is the best way to put it, of confusing the casual fan. Most of us that are heavy-duty fans are not going to be confused by this, but a casual fan might be confused between the in-season challenge and the playoff picture, because we're talking a lot about the playoff picture right now too,
yeah.
Leading up to the end of the regular season. So I think that might be part of NASCAR's concern. So the fact that they're doing that separate show, I think, though, is a big step in the right direction. I just wish they would have maybe done that during the three races that were setting up the seeding as well. So, but I'm with you, Taz. I want to see more.
At least that way they could sit here and be like, here's some potential matchups after Mexico City. And that way we can kind of be like, holy crap, look at these possible matchup scenarios we could be looking into. Because, I mean, in the middle of those three races, there was a couple of potential matchups where I'm like, wow, we could see heavy hitters get knocked out in the, not even first, but second round as well. And it's like, holy crap, we could have saw this. Like, if this wasn't talked about, why didn't we bring it out before?
Yes, it's a little mind-boggling to me. But this, I'm going to bring this chart up right now, and I guess I have to enlarge it so you can see more of it.
And Sharon, one thing you talked about that, and I know I've been trying to pick up on what other broadcast platforms are doing. Very specifically, I think they're making sure that they don't use the word championship or playoff when referencing the in-season challenge or tournament. Yes. To try and keep those two words to this, playoffs and championship to the overall season championship. I think they've been really focusing on that to try and eliminate, like you said, there is, especially you mentioned a casual fan, I saw it after Mexico City. How come Shane Van Gisbergen isn't in the tournament? You got to understand that was separate and already decided. Well, he won. How come he's not in it? How come he's not advancing? So I understand it.
And you'll notice even on this chart, it says winner. It doesn't say champion. It just says winner on this chart. So that I think is a testament to what you're saying, Jay, is that this is an entirely different thing. And so the terminologies that we use need to be very different in order to keep it straight for the casual race fan. Okay, so this is the in-season challenge bracket. And just to kind of scroll through here, it gives you the whole thing. And this is where I was saying it says winner on here. It doesn't say champion. It says winner of the in-season challenge. So it is presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook. And you can see each of the rounds here at the top with EchoPark Speedway, which is what we're doing today. Upcoming will be the Chicago Street Race, the Sonoma Road Course, Dover, and then the not championship round, but it does say champions round, but it's the one where we determine the winner of the in-season challenge. And that is at one of NASCAR's crown jewels, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So this is what that bracket looks like. And Jay, do you want to tell them about the in-season challenge for fans?
Well, you can fill your own bracket out. Again, I looked and you can't hardly go anywhere now. Like I said, I think NASCAR's picked up on it now that it's applicable this week. If you go to NASCAR.com, I think there's some links from Jayski. Yeah, you can find any link you want to get involved in this. If you fill out the bracket perfectly, it's $1 million to the winner. Good luck with that. We'll get into that as why that's probably not going to happen, but so many factors go into this, and I know, Sharon, you and I were just talking about it. Larry McReynolds on SiriusXM today talked about it. You can do all the research you want. It's not like the basketball, the NCAA March Madness bracket, because the court is the same, the basketball is the same, the hoop is the same. Here, you're talking about the tracks being different. You got your one-on-one matchup, but you got 30-some other competitors that out there may cause a problem for you if you get caught up in theirs. Your car, you could have a mechanical problem of multitude of different things. So it's really interesting. It's not a straight up who's better one-on-one. There's so much to factor in, and you can go back and look at stats. Like I know you got another one we'll look at in a little bit of just the history at Atlanta. Well, Atlanta has changed 5 years ago. The car itself, we're in the next gen era. So that too, how far back do you look at statistics? We just talked about the race in the spring. You can't even go back and look at the spring race. Temperature going to be maybe 30 to 40 degrees different. That affects every bit of racing. So what do you thought, Tad? Is your head exploding yet?
Oh, no, this is, you can actually, in a sense, if you really think about it, you say that you can't compare this to NCAA tournament. I can. Because this isn't anything can happen. You mentioned off the factors of, competitors that you're not even going up against can take you out. Your car can have a bad day and knock you out. And yeah, you're racing different tracks and not in like a certain little arena. That's probably the same in terms of basketball, but NASCAR, it's different. So again, I kind of see this as this is a nice comparison to the NCAA tournament because, again, anything can happen. We've seen in the NCAA tournament where the major underdogs that you wrote off when the tournament was even or when the bracket was even released, you're writing teams off they have no business being there. And holy crap, they can knock you out of there and into the Sweet 16 and that. So there's a lot of different factors.
Yeah, that can happen here where number one seed can be taken out if they blow an engine, if, they get caught up in a wreck. There's a lot of things that can happen, and I think we've done a good job. But here's the other chart that I want to kind of add to our stage here, if you will. This shows you the head-to-head between the number 1 seed and the number 32 seed. So you've got Denny Hamlin. Can you see my cursor here?
Yep.
Okay, you've got Denny Hamlin here, you've got Ty Dillon over here, and that gives you all the stats between the two drivers. Now, that includes the next gen era stats, the 2025 season stats, the last 5 races since 2022, which, by the way, Atlanta was reconfigured in 2022, so that's why that's significant. So that's the last 5 races there. And then EchoPark Speedway, again, since 2022, the last 5 races. So they're doing stats to stats there. If you look at it, it's overall last 5 races, drafting tracks, then since 2022, the last 5 races, and then the last 5 races at EchoPark Speedway. So I think this is going to be a good tool. Is it foolproof? No way.
Nope.
Is this going to be foolproof? But it's going to allow us to go head to head as we go down the bracket and decide who our picks are. So let's start with the number 1 seed and the number 32 seed of Denny Hamlin to Ty Dillon. Taz, why don't you go first?
All right. So if I go off of my own stats here, this is going to be a no-brainer. I'm sorry, Ty Dillon. This is not your matchup. Denny Hamlin, I know Denny Hamlin's got this mindset of super speedway racing. We've seen it at Daytona, hence, the multiple Daytona 500 wins he's gotten. He's always a front runner. He's always a top guy. Ty Dillon, I understand he's kind of, that driver that runs like mid-pack towards the back or whatever. But when you're up against somebody who's just got that natural feeling for super speedway races, you got a monster ahead of you. And so based upon what I'm seeing for my stats here, Hamlin in the last 7, I'm going back to the very beginning of Atlanta when it was Atlanta EchoPark, when it first became a super speedway race. So that being 7 Atlanta races since then. Denny Hamlin, I just had it here, has had 2 top 10 finishes in those 7 races. He has led for 32 laps. His average start to finish is a 21 to an 21st to an 18th. Whereas Ty Dillon, he has yet to even lead a lap, yet to record a top 10 here in those. He's ran 5 of the last 7 of the Atlanta races. So, and he's going from a 22nd, 23rd start to a 27th finish. So I have to easily give my cap for Denny Hamlin to move on here.
Okay, Jay, your thoughts.
Yeah, and that's like he said, call it a no-brainer. The only way you're picking Ty Dillon, and again, this is not an attack on Ty Dillon as a driver. It's just the facts are the facts of that. Denny Hamlin 3rd in the overall championship points, and that's despite missing a race. We know he's a top-tier driver. He's a championship contender. Ty Dillon, that team, I will give a little bit of that underdog hope, if you will. Ty Dillon's team with Colleague Racing has been showing improvement. The other good factor I would say goes to his side is Denny Hamlin is one of those, I'm not going to say the full checkers or wreckers, but if he's not up front and contending top 5, top 10, like Taz mentioned, there's a reason that's that he's got a blown motor or got an issue. That can happen. And I referenced back to earlier in this year where at Texas where he had the blown motor. So that the whole tournament itself to me is you got to have 5 very consistent races. I get winning obviously moves you on because obviously you beat everybody's favorite driver, not just the one-on-one head matchup, being that we're talking about Denny Hamlin. Thought I'd throw that in there. But I think some of these drivers that could be what you call a bracket buster are those that maybe you don't see contending for the win, but finishing 10th to 15th, because you got to do that for all 5 races to keep advancing. So that's where I say a driver like Ty Dillon, I'd maybe a whole 1%, give him a 1% chance, or, very limited, but that is there pretty much. Or if they happen to find something, like I said, Kaulig Racing has been improving. We've seen that with Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Daniel Suarez. They have been bringing more speed. There's a little bit of hope there, but overall, like Taz said, it's not much. And the only way you're putting Ty Dillon in here is if you want that one, it happens, and you're the only one that has it written down as such. You obviously are the only one in the shot for the million anymore.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. The first thing that stands out to me when you look at this chart is how lopsided it is. 71 to 24 races. Then you've got, the matchups are just out of balance. Sometimes doubling or more than doubling what Ty Dillon has done. You're right. There's that 1% chance that he could sneak through. But I would say it would have to be based on something failing for Denny Hamlin. So I give it Denny Hamlin for sure. So I think that's a 3-time pick, Denny Hamlin, on this one. Let's look at the next one, which is Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. This one, to me, was the most intriguing one of the entire round. And Jay, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, of course you would. This is the one I said I flip-flopped on. When I initially did it, I had Kyle Busch. Listening throughout the week, there were some strong cases, and I think even Danielle Trotta and Larry McReynolds and their producers, that was one that was split 2-2. Ford being better than Chevy at Atlanta as the hybrid super speedway drafting style track now. The horsepower they bring. I lean towards Brad Keselowski. Earlier today doing the preview show, we were reading about Kyle Busch's stats, and this is his best track with RCR. Now I'm back to it might be Kyle Busch. Let me find my quarter. I had a quarter here I was flipping earlier. No.
You're flipping the coin?
Yeah, this one, it is. I am back to almost wanting to put Kyle Busch back in. I think I'm going to leave it as Brad Keselowski, and I say that based on the last couple of races with Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, the momentum that team and organization have had. Again, Brad started when they had the cutoff. He was 32nd in points. The next 3 races determined their seeding. And that was where he started to show what we knew they were capable of, him as the team owner car. Got some good finishes, ended up as 17th seed. So I think I am going to still stick with Keselowski, but this one, man, I think this is one that's going to be half your field is in if those doing brackets, because some are going to go Kyle Busch, some are going to go Brad Keselowski. And I think half of your picks or submissions for this tournament are going to go with this one of these like this that, I really do call it a coin flip.
Okay, Taz, your turn. Which one did you end up with, though, Jay?
Right now, I have Keselowski written in there, and I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I've already changed it once, so I don't want to be scribbled, have 5 scribbles. I'll leave it with Brad Keselowski.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way. This is a coin flipper. This is kind of like your 8-9 matchup when you do your basketball regional bracket type deal. Kyle Busch has always done well super speedways. Brad Keselowski the same way. Tail of the story here with the 7 Atlanta drafting tracks. Kyle Busch winless, along with Brad Keselowski also winless. Kyle Busch has 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s. It has led for 93 laps. Average start to finish is about 12th for both. Keselowski, on the other hand, 1 top 5, 2 top 10, 68 laps led, 17th average start to an 18th average finish. So really, it's just a matter of consistency here. If I really wanted to pick somebody when it comes to the day versus night racing of Atlanta, I'm going to look back to last year. Kyle Busch last year, when it was the day into night for Atlanta, Kyle Busch was in that photo, 3-wide photo finish for that deal. Whereas the second Atlanta race, it was all at night. Brad Keselowski was the better guy. And with Atlanta being the same way this year, being a pure, true night race, I'm going to look at, as Jay mentioned earlier, the momentum that the team is carrying. And we know all three of these guys, we know Fords are going to do it, especially when they're up against their main rival of Chevy. I'm looking at Keselowski, honestly, for this one.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm with you.
Sharon, could I just say it's great to have Taz on here because you added one. I said spring versus fall in temperature, but the day versus night. I hadn't even thought about that and factored that in. So thank you for adding more into my head.
Okay. I'm kind of leaning the same way that you guys are. I want to pick Kyle Busch. I really do. I want Kyle Busch to get that win and get into the playoffs and to be part of the in-season challenge. But if you think about the momentum, you think about the track stats, you think about everything that you guys mentioned. It seems to me that Keselowski, even though his numbers seem to be a little lopsided here, it seems like his numbers right now are toward Brad Keselowski. So that's another 3 times. Part of me wants to go Kyle Busch just because, but I think I got to go with Brad Keselowski on this one.
Well, there's another unanimous one.
There's another unanimous one.
But we may all three be wrong.
Okay, let's go up here to the next one. We've got a head-to-head between Alex Bowman and Joey Logano. That's the number 8 seed against the number 25 seed.
You going to start this one, Sharon?
Well, you want me to start this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. Logano, I think, does have the better stats here. Logano has a recent win here. Bowman is good. Bowman is a little hit or miss when it comes to the super speedways. So I think he's had some good runs. Don't get me wrong. But I think things go wrong for Bowman sometimes at these super speedway type of tracks. And I'm not looking at any stats. Let me see if I can pull up my other stats here for Bowman and Logano. Logano has average running position is 10th best. That doesn't, average finish comes in at 15.696. That's 8th best. If I look at Bowman, let me see if Bowman's even on this list. Bowman does have 13th best, not that much difference. Average running position at 16.749. 12th best on average finish at 18.0. Driver rating is not that great. I got to go with Logano on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in here because this is one I circled as if you need to pick a upset in terms of seeding. This is the one. Bowman, while he's been riding good momentum wise the last few weeks, I'm not going to knock off the fact that Joey Logano is a 2-time winner of the new version of Atlanta. So he knows what to do. He knows how. And Team Penske is a monster when it comes to drafting tracks. So I kind of looked at this as like, unfortunately, this is a no-brainer. And I hate to say that because Alex Bowman is my guy since Jimmy Johnson retired. But this is one this is a David versus Goliath. And unfortunately, David is the 8 seed and he ain't winning this time around.
Jay?
Well, this one, I'm not sure how you can call it a no-brainer because to me, it was a tough one. And I look at the season to start with, Alex Bowman was up there with the Hendricks. They had all four cars in the top 5 in points at one time. Bowman has slid down as far as 13th. Joey Logano wasn't having the best finishes to start this season, got a win, is right now 10th in points. Over the 3 seeding races, which we know then was set by their best finish over those 3 races, you mentioned it. You call it an upset because Alex Bowman is ranked 8th or seeded 8th, and Joey Logano is 25th. That would lean towards Alex Bowman having the momentum. But I go with the kind of the Ford deal. You mentioned Penske when it comes to the drafting and super speedway style racing. I also did go with Joey Logano, but this is another one I don't think is again, I wouldn't fully go 50-50, but closer to a coin flip than certainly our top seed. So I did go with Joey Logano, and I'm sticking with it. But it could be one of, like you said, of numbers wise, the ace seed is not the upset, but I think when we look at it, if Bowman were to beat Logano, it would be considered one of the upsets.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's look at, even though their stats look very similar in a lot of ways, Joey Logano does have the 2 wins. Alex Bowman doesn't have any wins there. So that has to be taken into account too. Okay, let's look at the other seed, which is Wallace, who's the number 9 seed, and Suarez, who is the number 24 seed. And Jay, I think we're back to you.
God darn it, I should have went first on the last one. This one, again, I go back to almost the same story as far as momentum of the season. Bubba Wallace has been having a very solid season, and I said he was one that many people may not pick to win this in-season tournament, but he just runs consistently, or has this year, I'll say that, of 10th to 15th. And I got a real issue now because I have Suarez going pretty deep, but now I feel like maybe I should switch to Wallace. When you look at the super speedway style racing, his success has come more at Daytona and Talladega than necessarily at Atlanta. But I also go back to Trackhouse has been bringing more speed as of late and on the uprise as far as momentum, where it seems like 23-11 and Bubba Wallace specifically has been on a downslide. So I have Suarez, and like I said, I am going fairly deep, if you will, because the next 2 races are road courses. But this one might bite me. It really might.
Okay, Taz.
So my Suarez versus Bubba battle, again, I have this as a seeding upset. So this pair of matchups right here, I have as 2 seeding upsets. Suarez has the 4th best average finish among 7 Atlanta drafting tracks or drafting races. He has 1 win, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, has led for 31 laps. Has a 22nd average start to an 11th average finish. So he knows how to go from deep to the front. Whereas Bubba Wallace, on the other hand, here is, I missed where, right there he is. 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, has led for 19 laps. He knows how to work his way from, again, kind of deep, but working forward, not so big. You were talking about a 23rd average finish to about a 17th, 18th place average finish. So my tip of the cap here is that I'm feeling Suarez, even though both of these drivers have their own tail of the tape for drafting tracks. But I feel like Suarez is the stronger guy for here in Atlanta versus Bubba Wallace. If it was like a Daytona or Talladega, I'd probably throw Bubba into that case. But we're not going to either one of those two, so I'm going Suarez.
Boy, great minds think alike. I was hoping maybe we'd have some disagreements here, but so far we are 3 for 3 or 4 for 4. And I am going to go with Suarez here because I agree with everything that you guys said. This is the track that Suarez was involved in, that 3-wide finish. He was part of that group. And so I think Suarez has the advantage here over Wallace. And I agree with whoever said if it was Daytona or Talladega, we might go a different direction. But at Atlanta, you got to go with Suarez here. So I agree. This is another upset. And we got to go with Suarez here. Our next matchup is John Hunter Nemechek, the 12th seed, to the number 21 seed in the number 21 car, Josh Berry. So Taz, you get to go first on this
I'm
one.
I'm glad Taz gets to start this
Oh.
one. For that reason right there.
Well, Josh Berry, for what I'm pulling up here so far, because I was looking at a different matchup to pull up next, but apparently I got my order different than how we got it here.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's completely okay. So Josh Berry, I just found him. I know in 4 races, has yet to find the top 10, but he has led for 56 laps. Problem is for him, he's going from a 10th or 11th average start back to a 25th average finish, which can really hurt you in some of these cases here. For some reason, I'm not finding John Hunter Nemechek in my list here because I obviously know he's ran this track before. Might have to go find where else I might have had him. Oh yes, right here. So I don't have his finish from earlier this year, but in terms of average start to finish, his average start is a whole lot worse than Josh Berry. But in terms of average finish, he's right about the same. I'm this one's a kind of a tosser, but if I had to go off of who may play the better strategy in terms of the manufacturer, I'm going to ignore all those red little dots on there for Josh Berry and say, Josh Berry, I might swing your way, and I might have to pick you here in this one.
Okay. And Nemechek kind of has a little bit of momentum on his side of this. He does have this. This is probably the closest matchup that we've had so far. But Josh Berry, again, I got to lean toward the Fords. Tend to have better results at Atlanta Motor Speedway, or not Atlanta anymore. It's the EchoPark Speedway. So, I'm not looking at a lot of stats here. I'm just going to go by my gut feel on this one, and I got to go with Josh Berry on this one because of the Ford, mainly because he's in a Ford.
All right. Well, Sharon, your wish is my command. This is one, and I can't argue against what either one of you have said, and I've actually used it. Ford, Penske, Super Speedway. But this is one where I look at, I think this time of year where Legacy Motor Club has been kind of picking up momentum and speed, and we see that based on the seeding of number 12 versus 21. And you look at it, well, Josh Berry got a win. What have you done lately? Where have you been lately? When was the last time we talked about Josh Berry being in contention or top 10 for a finish? And we've been talking about Nemechek and the Legacy Motor Club putting both cars in or near the top 10. So I'm going with Nemechek on this one and standing by the seeding. Did it happen to fall at the right time for them? I think so. And this is where I said one of those drivers may not be a winning driver week in and week out, but over the next 5 races, can they be consistent and be 10th, 11th, and just be better than the driver they're matched up with? I think you might see Nemechek's name further on down the road as well. So I'm going to go with the 42, a Legacy Motor Club.
All right. We finally got a disagreement.
Yay, I get to be the one.
Okay, our next matchup here is head-to-head with Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon. This is going to be an interesting one.
I'll make mine short and sweet. I didn't know Austin Dillon was running this year. Chase Elliott.
Wow.
Okay, one for Elliott. When I think about what's been happening, he's usually good on super speedways, but again, it's Daytona and Talladega. I don't think we've seen Austin Dillon do that great at Atlanta. When I try to look up stats for him, at NASCAR stats. He doesn't even show up. Let me look here. I'm going to go down this list one more time. Nope, I don't even see his name on this list. But that being said, I don't see John Hunter Nemechek's name on this list either. So this is going to be an interesting one. But Austin Dillon and Chase Elliott, you got to go with Elliott here. I just don't see any other way around it. Taz?
Yeah, I'm going Chase Elliott on this side of things. He is the second best average finish of the 7 Atlanta EchoPark drafting style races. Unfortunately for him, his win was his only top 5 finish. He does have 3 top 10s, has led over 100 laps. He is, again, second best average finish since Atlanta's turned over to a drafting style track, going from a 15th, 16th average start to a 10.5 average finish. Austin Dillon has yet to even record a top 10, yet to even lead a lap. And he's going from 17th average start to a 24th average finish. So I'm going Chase Elliott on this one. And I hope Dawsonville gets that siren going if he beats out Austin Dillon.
Yeah, there you go. The siren.
The siren, yes. Our next matchup is going to be number 13 seed Ross Chastain versus number 20 seed Eric Jones. This is going to be interesting as well. So is it my turn or no?
Yeah, go ahead. Either you or Taz. I started the Chase Elliott, started it and ended it in a heartbeat, but
yeah, before I even had a chance. Okay, yes, Racing Insights put this together, and I really applaud them for that. Head-to-head better finishes. Again, you got to look at the stats here. Oh, I'm going to go with Ross Chastain on this. Again, let me look at my other stats here real quick and see if I see Chastain anywhere in the top 10. Chastain does have 11 races at Atlanta EchoPark Speedway. His driver rating is a 72.2. Average finish is at 16.0. 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 1 DNF, no wins, no poles. And unfortunately, I don't think Jones is on this list. I'll go with, I got to go with Chastain on this one.
So I'm going to tip my cap or tip my head of the cap, whatever the terminology is at this time. Chastain Jones. This one, I lean more towards Chastain, but I would not be surprised if it's like a 60-40 in this case of Chastain versus Jones. Chastain and Jones both winless in Atlanta drafting deal. Chastain 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s in those 7 drafting races, has led 117 laps. Jones, on the other hand, 1 top 5 to 2 top 10s, has led 10 laps. Both of them have found a way to go forward with Atlanta, because Chastain with an 18.4 start to an 11.4 finish, compared to Jones's 28.4 to 17.0. As much as I like, if you want to throw in an upset and be a minority, or if you want to be like a popular upset, this is going to be it. I personally feel like, and this would be like a true, real upset in comparison to the last 2 we said were upsets, but I don't feel like they were. But in this one, this is your true, real upset. If you want to go with one, I'd circle this one for sure. But I'm going to go with Chastain here. I feel like this is a good, like a 5-12 or a 4-13 upset in this case.
Okay, good points, Taz. Jay.
This one for me, by my own standard, both teams are on that momentum upswing. You've heard me talk about Trackhouse Racing as well as Legacy Motor Club. As far as that, And we've seen it as of recent. Ross Chastain recently picking up his victory. Eric Jones either being just inside the top 10 or just outside. I think he was 11th at Pocono, or 11th to 13th. I call it a drag race. I mean, it is so much side by side. I'd say Chastain, because he's the more recent winner. We know Eric Jones is a winner, especially when it comes to some of the different tracks like Darlington. So I'm not writing him off by any means. Like you said, if Jones were to win this one, would I be surprised? Not at all. However, I did go with the number 1 of Ross Chastain for this one.
Okay. So there you have it. Now our next matchup is the number 4 seed of Christopher Bell against the number 29 seed of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Your thoughts here, and I think it is Jay's turn again.
Well, man, this one you'd think a 4 versus 29. Why are we talking about it? Thinking about it. Christopher Bell was your winner in the spring, but it was a spring race. It was a day race, if you will. So is that a guarantee? No. Stenhouse favors the drafting style or super speedway. I heard some great arguments as this week of why you may have to consider Stenhouse, and they are valid points. However, I just don't see it. I still think this one goes to Christopher Bell with Joe Gibbs Racing. He's already got 3 wins on the year, and actually that first one came here at Atlanta in the spring race. I get it. It was a day race. It was cooler temperatures. Again, there were some good cases made for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and I like him, and I understand the super speedway, but this isn't that full-on Talladega Daytona. If that were the case, I would look more towards Stenhouse, but Atlanta is the hybrid, favors super speedway or pack racing, but it's still, I got to give it to Christopher Bell on this one.
Okay. Taz.
I'm going to edge Christopher Bell. And the reason why I say edge is because this is like the Suarez Bubba Wallace deal. If it was Daytona Talladega, I'd probably tip my cap to Stenhouse here. But this is EchoPark Speedway, Atlanta. Bell here. Bell and Stenhouse, ironically, their stats are more near identical, but Bell just has that slight edge. I personally feel like Bell has the win, as Jay mentioned, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s in these 7 drafting races, 23 laps led. He's gone from a 23rd, 24th average start to a 15th average finish. Stenhouse, on the other hand, not too far down the ladder from Bell, in all honesty. Winless, has 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, has led actually surprisingly more laps than Christopher Bell in 32, and his average start to finish probably gaining about the same amount of spots. In this case, you're talking a 27th to a 16th. So, but I'm gonna kind of have the edge here and go with Christopher Bell.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. It's hard to vote against Ricky Stenhouse Jr. because he's in a Ford, and we know this track favors Fords, but his stats just don't back it up. So I got to go with Christopher Bell on this one. Okay, we're going to go on the other side of the bracket here now, and this time we're going to look at the number 2 seed against the number 31 seed, Chase Briscoe versus Noah Gragson.
I think you get to start this one, Sharon.
Oh, it's my turn to go first. Well, to me, this is a no-brainer. It seems like a no-brainer to me because Gragson just has not he's had some good runs, I'll put it that way, but he just doesn't seem to have the stats. Not that Briscoe's stats are any better. His average finish there is 22.8. So it's not like Briscoe is all that great at this track. But when I look up some of these stats, I don't even see Noah Gregson's name on the list. So I'm just going to go for Chase Briscoe. He's got momentum on his side. Chase Briscoe for me.
Yeah, this is, I hate to kind of word it this way, but I feel like this matchup here is not intriguing. This is kind of this isn't a real true 2 versus 31 matchup. This is kind of a who's going to have the best worst day possible for these two.
Yeah.
Gregson has yet to record a top 10 in 7 races. He's gone from 21.4 start to a 31.4 finish. Chase Briscoe, on the other hand, same deal, has yet to record a top 10. We're going from a 10th place average finish to a near 24th. So both are finding their way backwards. And the only edge I have here is Briscoe leading laps. So I'm going Briscoe here.
Jake?
Well, y'all thought I was harsh with Austin Dillon, reference Chase Elliott. So honestly, when I filled this out, that is what it was. Write Chase Briscoe's name in. It was tough for me, and I say this because Noah Gregson's one of my favorite drivers. But I got to say the same thing. When has he been talked about of even racing so far this year? He is consistent. Unfortunately, it's not 10th to 15th or even 15th to 20th. It's been 20th or back. So, yeah, I mean, as much as I would hope to see him be the ultimate bracket buster through this tournament in season challenge, I couldn't even bring myself to even pencil his name in and moving him past, especially a driver like Chase Briscoe. Now, Chase Briscoe has not had the most consistent top tier team and rating either, even though he was the number 2 seed. He just happened to get a win in the right 3 races, if you will. But he is a top 10 to 15 driver week in and week out, and just had things go wrong and not quite be able to finish the races where he ran. Whereas Noah Gragson was finishing where he ran, and that was 20th to 25th or on back. So, yeah, you can't do anything but move Briscoe on.
Okay, so moving on to our next matchup, we've got number 15 seed against number 18 seed, Ryan Preece versus William Byron. Who would have guessed that William Byron would be an 18th seed here? But he is. So, Jay, I think is it your turn again?
Yeah, this is one, again, you look at what the championship standings. William Byron only has 1 win, still leading the points by, and I can pull that up real quick. I think I put it over there. Whoops. 54 points over Kyle Larson, one of the most consistent drivers all year long. He's Hendrick Motorsports. That's what they do. Well, why is he seeded 18th? Because those 3 races, that was his best finish of that. Ryan Preece with Roush Fenway Keselowski talked about that. They've been putting 3 teams in the top 10 for the past 2 weeks, I believe. I still had to write William Byron down. All right. I think he's the one that advances here. But here is the one, like I said, I wanted to see maybe Gregson being the ultimate bracket buster. I think Ryan Preece could be one that actually could do it, because I said over the next 5 races, who could be consistent all 5 weeks? And I think that falls into Ryan Preece's category. 10th to 15th, he's just out there running solid, staying out of trouble, may not be leading laps, may not be winning races, but is always right there in the rundown at the end of the race. And so this is one where I think when you talk about top names, your top drivers, William Byron being your championship leader, if you will, getting knocked out early, this could be the one. But I wrote down William Byron.
Okay, Taz, are you around? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go, and then when Taz gets back, we'll let him go. I look at William Byron's stats at Atlanta. He does have 2 wins there, and I don't know if it was on old or new configuration. He's got 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. His average finish, though, is 17.750. That's 11th best. Average running position, 14.937, 11th best. Driver rating, 83.6, 11th best. And even laps led in the top 15 is at 56.2%. That's 12th most. at this track. So his stats at Atlanta Motor Speedway, even though he's got those 2 wins, I kind of get the feeling that maybe that was before the reconfiguration. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I think Ryan Preece, when I look at his stats, though, it's not that much better. His average rating is in the 50s. I'm not going to say what. And his average finish is 23.9. But I do think that this could be one of those upsets like Jay mentioned. William Byron he needs to turn his races around. He's been kind of heading in the wrong direction here of late. And I think if anybody could upset, maybe in this race, it could be Ryan Preece because he has been consistent. Plus, he's got the fact that he needs to get into these playoffs. He is not in the playoffs right now. He's not secure. And he's 15 seed versus 18 seed. So that tells me he's got a little bit of an edge on momentum right now as well. So you said Byron. I'm going to go with Preece. I'm going to go for the upset.
Sharon has picked her upset.
All right. Look, guess what? I'm your tiebreaker, and I'm sorry, but if one of these two has to turn something around, regardless if they're riding momentum or whatever, this is the one to turn around. William Byron's going to turn around here. He's a 2-time Atlanta drafting track winner. He has led almost 180 laps. Ryan Preece, I understand this is RFK. I understand this is Ford. But if I have to pick one over the other to make it through this round, I'm going to throw my hat into Byron here.
I just don't think he's got momentum on his side right now. Okay, let's go to the next matchup. The next matchup is, one of my favorites. Number 7 seed Ryan Blaney versus number 26 seed Carson Hocevar. So, Taz, you're up first on this one.
All right. If you don't have this guy as not only your pick to win, but also I could see your pick to move on this one. But if he's not considered as like your pick to win, not only for this challenge, but anything in general with this track, oh boy, I'm going to read this off to you because I circled Ryan Blaney for heavy reasons, and I have nothing against Carson Hocevar at all. I think he has a great chance of upsetting here, but Ryan Blaney too strong here. We're talking 4 top 5, 6 top 10s in the last 7 races at this track. He has a pole. He's led 107 laps. Average start is a 3.1. Average finish is the best among active drivers of a 6.7. And Carson Hocevar is not even like top 5, top 10 rated for the last 7 races. I easily threw my hat in for Blaney.
All right, and I'm going to say Blaney as well. The highest driver rating of all the drivers at this track is Ryan Blaney at 101.1. To me, I think Ryan Blaney is your guy. His average finish at this track, and this is for all of his races, not just the last on the new configuration, is a 9.6, which I believe is the best average finish overall for Ryan Blaney as well. So I got to go with Ryan Blaney.
Well, Sharon, I know you heard this because I messaged you when I heard it on the radio. You got to pick a bracket buster. Larry McReynolds this afternoon said it. This is it. That as much as the statistics show Ryan Blaney or whatever, he was picking Carson Hocevar. And I said the same thing Sharon said. Wow. I was like, I'm driving. Don't give me a heart attack like that. I couldn't do it. I like Carson Hocevar. Again, momentum as of late. He's certainly been up there mixing it up with the leaders. He was second here in the spring. Ryan Blaney was 7th or 8th, somewhere in the top 10. Solid like you need to be. I know Blaney's had some engine issues early in the year. We haven't seen those as of late. But no, I couldn't do it. This isn't the one I would have picked. So yeah, I'm on the Ryan Blaney bandwagon all the way.
Okay, let's move on to the next one then. We've got number 10 seed Kyle Larson against number 23 seed Tyler Reddick. What are your thoughts here?
This is one of 10 versus 23. Larson being what a lot of people are calling the best driver in the world right now, can drive anything. I don't think it's a gimme like you would think it is. His super speedway style racing, Atlanta in particular, not his best track. But then you go, okay, well, let's pick the other driver. What has Reddick done? 23-11 again just has not seemed to gain any kind of ground or footing, and we haven't seen what we have seen out of Tyler Reddick in the past. So I still had to go with Larson. I don't know that that's a strong pick, even though he appears to be an odds-on favorite, second in overall championship, 3 wins on the season. I'm going to say Larson, but yeah, I'm certainly not rubber stamping it, locking it in stone either.
Okay,
I'm going to flip this one. I'm saying Tyler Reddick based upon the top 10s versus Larson here. I'm going to make it short and sweet on this.
Okay.
And you can't argue that. I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah, you can't argue that. I will say, though, I'm looking at overall stats here. Tyler Reddick, 21st best in average finish at 19.2, 17th best average running position at 17.6, 14th best in driver rating at 75.3, and 20th most, 45.4 in the top 15 running, laps running. And when I compare that to Kyle Larson, it's not that his are all that much better. He's 13th best, 19.0 average finish, a 9th best in average running position at 13.9, 9th best in driver rating at 86.9, and 9th most in top 15s at 63.5. When I look at, let's see, Reddick, he's got 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, 2 DNFs. When I look at Larson, on the other hand, he's got 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 5 DNFs. That's astounding. But just based on driver rating alone, I'm going to go with Larson on this one. Okay.
Well, this might be the one where Taz sneaks ahead of us there with that Reddick pick. And again, I can't blame you at all. As much as Kyle Larson, we know what a great driver he is. Yeah, this is not the track I would have wanted to necessarily put my money on him.
Yeah, this is a tough one because neither one of them have had good runs of late. Okay, now let's go with the number 11 seed, Michael McDowell, versus the number 22 seed of AJ Allmendinger. Is it my turn again?
It's either you or Taz. I think it's Taz, actually.
Taz, you want to go first on this one?
Sharon bailed. Sharon bailed.
McDowell, Allmendinger. You know what? As this is a coin flipper. I call this a coin flipper. McDowell, 1 top 5 to 2 top 10s, 2 poles, 57 laps led. His average finish is a 14th, average start is a 14th, average finish 15th. Dinger, shockingly, is a top 3 average finish of the last 7 Atlanta races. Unfortunately, the top 5 and top 10 stats don't favor to him. But I think if we're going to play a spoiler alert here, I'm going the upset. I'm going the 22. I'm going Allmendinger on this case.
Okay. Now, I'm kind of leaning toward McDowell on this. It's a super speedway type track, and I think McDowell. Usually Daytona, Talladega, it's not even an issue. I would pick him in a heartbeat. I'm a little more hesitant with this being Atlanta, but I'm looking at the stats here. I got to lean toward Allmendinger on this one, but McDowell is in a Ford, right? Is that a Ford?
No, both are Chevy.
Both are Chevy.
You're right. My bad. He is he is with Spire Motorsports now in a Chevy. Well, now go ahead, Sharon. I got to keep rethinking mine.
Yeah,
I thought I
I'm
had
rethinking
that
mine
nudge.
too. I was going to go with McDowell, but I think I got to go with Allmendinger when I look at these stats here. I'm going Allmendinger.
All right. Well, here's one where even before the matchups were announced, that I looked at as far as drivers that could get deep into the tournament itself, because you have two road courses coming up. They're both very good road course racers. Then you got to go back to Atlanta, and both of them have, I'll say, solid Atlanta stats, of not great, but just solid. And the fact that they ended up matched up, and it shows 11-22 based on those three races, I would have been like Taz said, this would be my 16th versus 17th, right down the middle. And I was going to say, go to the photo finish frame by frame, find that slight edge, a thousandth of a second. And I was giving it to McDowell based on the Ford thought, but you pointed out he's not even in a Ford anymore because Spire Motorsports is. Well, then I look at the two organizations, Colleague Racing and Spire Motorsports. Just eliminated Carson Hocevar. They obviously have some momentum, but so does Colleague Racing. The one edge I will give is that McDowell is leading kind of the Spire Motorsports, whereas I don't think Allmendinger is necessarily with Colleague Racing. That's Ben Chastain. So I'm going to stay with McDowell. But again, it's frame by frame photo finish to try and figure this one out.
Okay, so we got that one. I am writing down our picks here. Okay, the next head-to-head is number 60, Ty Gibbs, against the number 27 seed, Justin Haley. Am I first now? I think I'm first now. I'm going to go with Gibbs on this. Gibbs has been running pretty decent of late, and I'm going to give the edge to Joe Gibbs. I keep saying Joe Gibbs. To Ty Gibbs on this one. I think I'm going to just stick with that.
All right, Jay, I'm putting you under pressure because I was already under pressure for a breakup 1-1 tie. And so you're getting this one. I'm going Justin Haley over Ty Gibbs. While Ty Gibbs has one more top 10 over Justin Haley, Haley has found a way to go forward, whereas Ty Gibbs, on the other hand, he's found a way to go forward ever so slightly. And Justin Haley, I feel like, has better super speedway records. I'm going Justin Haley on this deal.
And this was one, again, you first look at it, no-brainer, based on the initial 32 that were going to enter into the seeding rounds. Justin Haley was down there in the 30s. He did manage to work his way up to 27th, if that's a work up. But you look at it, in that stretch, Ty Gibbs actually got seeded 6th. A year ago, would have said this was Ty Gibbs all the way. He's running top 5, top 10, knocking on the door of victory. He hasn't been that this year up until they made some crew changes. So I think the momentum-wise, you got to go with Ty Gibbs. But I understand taking Justin Haley in this, especially in this first round. If you're looking for one of those upsets, it could be Haley, as you mentioned, of that super speedway style racing. But I do think it's going to be Gibbs.
Okay, moving up the list here. And again, there could be mechanical things. There could be a lot of different things that happen here. Okay,
pit stops. You're talk about pit stops. A mistake on pit road.
Yes, pit stops. Okay, our next head-to-head is Zane Smith, number 14 seed, against Austin Cindric in the number 19 seed. So, I think, Jay, we're back to you.
Yeah, I was doing some scribbling here. I'm not changing my pick. I am, since there's only 32 in the tournament, if you remember earlier, I had Zane Smith as number 38. That's his car number, not his seed number. So I couldn't find number 14 seed earlier. I had to make that change now. This one, by the numbers, 14th seed versus 19th seed, I haven't seen enough out of Zane Smith. Austin Cindric, go back to some of the things we've said. It's Penske. He's got some momentum. Again, it hasn't been a stellar year by any means, but it is Penske. It is Ford. It is a super speedway style racing. You got to give it to Cindric, in my opinion. And I like Zane Smith, but yeah, really, realistically, again, what have we seen out of him this year?
Yeah, I'm in the same cap. Cindric has much more better stats at this track versus Zane Smith. So for that reason alone, I mean, Zane Smith has yet to record a top 10, whereas Cindric has a few top 10s, a couple top 5s. So I'm going Cindric on this deal.
Okay, I go Cindric as well. I look at his average driver rating. It's 86.4. It's one of the good ones. It's not at the top, but it's a whole lot better than most of the drivers. So I'm going to go with Austin Cindric on this one. In addition to the fact that he's got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. He does have 1 DNF at that track. His average finish is up there. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's up there. It's more closer to the top than it is to the bottom. I'm going with Austin Cindric. Okay, the next head-to-head we've got is the number 3 seed of Chris Buescher versus the number 30 seed of Todd Gilliland. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say here. And Taz, I think you're up for the next first pick.
I like this matchup because both of these guys have the super speedway niche, I would say. The only thing that I think changes or made me pick this driver over the other is based upon momentum he's had so far in the last, I would say, not only 5 races. I go back a little bit further. I take a look back at last year of how things went out for him specifically. Being that I'm kind of looking at this as who has more successful rate in terms of top 5s and top 10s and who would I feel more comfortable with moving on in this case. I know driver or the average finish shows Gilliland over Buescher, but I'm feeling more comfortable with going Chris Buescher over Todd Gilliland. So Buescher's my pick on this deal.
I have to agree. I think Buescher gets the nod on this one. Just looking at the overall season, the momentum. Todd Gilliland does do well on super speedways, though. So that would be my only hesitation. But when I look at the stats here, I'm not seeing his name. I'm looking for a reason to pick Todd Gilliland, and I can't find a reason.
He's one of your favorite drivers, remember?
I think I'm going to go with Chris Buescher on this one. I just don't see Todd Gilliland showing up anywhere here. He might very well have a better finish, though, and that's what scares me about this one, because I know he's good on super speedways, and he does show up on some of these faster tracks like this. But I'm going to go with Buescher.
Well, Sharon, if you go back to before the seating was announced, just the way the bracket was going to be set up, and we discussed it on a Hot Topics, I said this kind of tournament actually, I think, plays into the wheelhouse of a driver like, and I named Chris Buescher as one of them. The season he had been having at that point, just very solid down the middle, and you got to do that for 5 straight races. He's the number 3 seed, a little bit higher than I would have thought he got ranked initially, but so to me this would be a write in his name and move on. However, you guys have mentioned it, you cannot discard Todd Gilliland. No. And although he's ranked 30th, I don't necessarily agree with that. Maybe the tracks that we were on just didn't match up. He's another one, I say, just behind Chris Buescher as far as, and I'm trying to think who I used earlier, but unfortunately, his consistency is maybe around 20th and a little further back, and that's just not going to be enough. So Chris Buescher is my pick. However, this is one of those, if Gilliland is the one to get this spot and move on and bust some brackets, it would not surprise me.
I think he could be a bracket buster for sure. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Buescher's got the momentum on his side. Okay, just to review, in the first bracket, we took Hamlin 3 times, Keselowski 3-time pick. Moving on to the next one, all three of us picked Logano. All three of us picked Suarez.
All right, that quarter's secure.
Barry was picked twice, but John Hunter Nemechek, Jay, you took John
That's where I
Hunter.
stand out. All right.
Elliott was a 3-time pick. Chastain a 3-time pick, as is Bell. Briscoe was a 3-time pick, but in that next one, I took Priest over. You guys took Byron. I think Priest could be a bracket buster, and I'm going to take Priest on this one.
And that was one, and that was before the matchups. Remember, he was the other one I said with Chris Buescher that with their consistency could ride through a tournament like this. So
I just don't think Byron's momentum is on his side right now.
And that's, I can't argue that.
Okay, next up, Blaney, a 3-time pick. Larson was picked twice, but Taz, you took Reddick on this one. So we might have a bracket buster there. The next one, we had another break, 2 times for Allmendinger, but Jay, you took McDowell on this one. Gibbs, 2 times for Gibbs, but who took Haley?
Taz did.
Taz took Haley. Okay, I didn't write that down, so I got to put that in here. Taz took Haley on that one. In the next one, 3-time Cindric pick, but Buescher was also a 3-time pick. So we had a few breaks in our group here with what we think are going to be bracket busters. So those of you that are tuning in for this, we'll leave it up to you to choose your picks, but we've given you our best choices and do with it what you will. So anything anybody wants to say before we move on here?
Well, Sharon, Taz and I bucked the trend twice because I got Nemechek and McDowell against you guys. Taz had Haley and Reddick as far as against us. You only had one of Ryan Priest, and that was one we kind of agreed with you on too. I mean, it was that close, but yeah, you only bucked the trend once. We both bucked it twice.
Yeah, I feel like Priest, I think, could do it. Byron, I like Byron. I would like to see him move on. I just feel like Byron's momentum has not been there. So I just feel like he's not going to make it to that next round.
And none of us bought into America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds, saying that Carson Hocevar upsets Ryan Blaney.
Well, he might have something on all of us. We'll have to see what happens. Any parting comments, Taz?
Nope. I'm excited to get this going, and I like to see how this will fully play out, and then we'll see what next week brings.
Okay. Well, I've got it here, what all of our picks are. So we'll kind of have to see how we all fared when this is all said and done. So I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And this is pretty much it for the preview shows going into Atlanta and Lime Rock. But we'll be back on Monday with all the reviews of all this racing. And I want to say thank you for watching. And don't forget, we do have our live stream of Hot Topic Sound Off, 10 o'clock Eastern, here on Fanfare Racing Radio as well. And Chris Crichton joins Jay and I for that. So take care, everybody. Enjoy your weekend of racing.
I want to jump in there, Sharon. I know I was on vacation, and Taz, that's where you came in and filled in, and especially here moving forward with the preview, you clearly bring some statistics and whatnot. So look forward to that. Hopefully I can get, at least for the preview portion or the in-season tournament, I want to be a part of it. As we go further down the road, I don't know if I always can if you do them on Fridays, but great to have you on board here at Fanfare Racing.
I appreciate the warm welcome, and can't wait to keep going with it.
Okay, and Taz, you have been a great addition. We really appreciate you. And everybody, again, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you on the other side.